The Netherlands is a country that constantly breaks expectations. Before you even land at the airport, you probably carry a suitcase full of stereotypes, windmills, tulips, bicycles, and maybe legal cannabis. But within the first hour, those images begin to feel too small, too simple. This is a place where night turns into a festival of lights, where women confidently take the first step in conversations, where sweet treats can taste surprisingly salty, and where nudity in saunas is not scandalous but completely normal. It is a country that challenges your assumptions quietly, without trying to impress you. And that is exactly why it feels so powerful. Imagine walking through a city where enormous windows glow warmly at night, revealing beautifully designed interiors. No heavy curtains. No hiding. Just soft lamps, plants, bookshelves, and people living their lives. It feels almost theatrical, as if the entire country is a living showroom. But it is not about showing off wealth. It is about transparency. About saying, we have nothing to hide. This mindset runs deep in Dutch culture. It shapes their architecture, their social rules, even their humor. Then there is the boldness. Dutch society is known for direct communication. If someone likes you, they might say it clearly. If they disagree, they will tell you without drama. This honesty can feel shocking at first, especially if you come from a culture where politeness hides true feelings. But soon you understand that this openness creates trust. You always know where you stand. And let's talk about freedom. Not chaotic freedom, not reckless behavior, but structured freedom. The Netherlands feels like a laboratory where society experiments with new ideas, legal frameworks for controversial industries, progressive social policies, flexible working hours. Everything is organized, regulated, engineered. Even the land itself is engineered. A large part of the country exists because the Dutch literally built it from the sea. When you stand on ground that used to be underwater, you realize this nation has been redefining limits for centuries. Food also plays with your expectations. You might try a waffle filled with caramel syrup and suddenly taste a pinch of salt that makes the sweetness explode. You might see people eating chocolate sprinkles on bread for breakfast. It feels unusual, but somehow it works. That is the Netherlands in a nutshell, things that shouldn't work together, but do. And then there is the relationship with the body. In many countries, the human body is surrounded by shame or secrecy. Here, you find over 70 nude beaches. You discover that in many saunas, swimsuits are not allowed because nudity is considered natural and equalizing. Nobody stares. Nobody judges. It is simply part of life. Confidence is quiet, not loud. The more you explore, the more you realize this country is a balance of contradictions. It is deeply traditional and radically modern at the same time. Small villages preserve centuries-old costumes and rituals, while major cities host electronic music festivals that attract the world's best DJs. It is calm and explosive. Reserved and daring. Practical and artistic. This journey through the Netherlands is not just about places. It is about understanding how a small country became one of the most influential societies in Europe. How it turned water into land, trade into global power, and tolerance into identity. It is about discovering how freedom, when carefully structured, can create one of the highest qualities of life in the world. Forget the simple postcard version. What you are about to see is a country that lives openly, thinks critically, celebrates loudly, and rests intentionally. A place where engineering meets philosophy. Where parties meet pragmatism. Where windows glow at night not to show off, but to invite the world to look inside and understand. And once you start looking, you realize the Netherlands is not just a destination. It is a mindset. At night, Dutch cities transform completely. During the day, you see bicycles rushing to work, tidy canals reflecting narrow houses, and quiet cafes filled with laptops. But when the sun goes down, the atmosphere shifts. Lights reflect in the water, music spills into the streets, and energy rises like electricity in the air. Amsterdam is often the first name that comes to mind, and for good reason. Its nightlife is legendary. Clubs operate with world-class sound systems and experimental electronic music. The Netherlands is a global leader in electronic dance music, producing famous DJs who headline festivals worldwide. This culture is not underground anymore, it is part of national identity. Massive festivals like Amsterdam Dance Event turn the entire city into a celebration of rhythm and creativity. But nightlife here is not only about huge clubs. It is about diversity. You can find intimate jazz bars hidden in old buildings, industrial warehouses converted into art spaces, rooftop lounges overlooking canals, and brown cafes where locals gather for relaxed conversations over beer. Each space has its own personality. What stands out most is organization. Even in crowded party districts, things rarely feel chaotic. Security is visible but calm. Public transport runs late. People respect personal space. You can party hard, but the structure around you makes it feel safe. This is the Dutch way, freedom with boundaries. Another surprising aspect is the confidence of women in social spaces. It is common for women to approach men first. There is less pressure to follow traditional dating rules. Conversations feel direct, sometimes blunt, but refreshingly honest. This dynamic reflects a broader culture of gender equality. Independence is normal, not exceptional. The famous Red Light District is often misunderstood. Many visitors expect something dark or dangerous. Instead, they find bright neon lights, strict regulations, and clear rules. It is treated as a legal business environment rather than a hidden taboo. Whether you agree with it or not, it represents a society that chooses regulation over prohibition. Transparency over secrecy. Nightlife also extends beyond alcohol and clubs. In summer, parks become social hubs. People bring portable speakers, sit by the canals, and watch the sky turn orange and pink. In winter, cozy bars glow with candles, creating that famous Dutch feeling of warmth and togetherness. Even a simple evening bike ride through illuminated streets feels cinematic. And then there are the festivals. King's Day transforms the entire country into a sea of orange. Streets become open-air parties. Boats crowd the canals. Strangers dance together. It is chaotic in appearance but still surprisingly controlled. Cleanup crews work through the night, and by morning the cities are tidy again. Celebration without destruction. What makes Dutch nightlife unique is not just intensity, but balance. People work hard during the week, often with shorter work schedules than many other countries. When they relax, they do it fully. But they also know when to stop. The next morning, bicycles are back on the roads, cafes serve strong coffee, and life continues smoothly. In the Netherlands, the night is not an escape from reality. It is an extension of it. It reflects the same values seen during the day: openness, equality, creativity, and structure. Whether you are dancing in a massive club, talking in a small brown cafe, or simply walking along a canal under streetlights, you feel part of something organized yet free. The Dutch have mastered the art of enjoying the night without losing control of the day. And that balance might be the most impressive thing of all. There is something deeply fascinating about how the Netherlands approaches the human body. In many parts of the world, nudity is controversial, hidden, or heavily sexualized. Here, it is often treated as something natural and neutral. That difference says a lot about the culture. Across the country, there are more than 70 designated nude beaches. These are not secret, hidden corners. They are clearly marked, legally recognized spaces where people of all ages go to relax by the sea without swimsuits. Families, older couples, young adults, everyone shares the same sand, the same wind, the same North Sea horizon. The atmosphere is surprisingly calm. No staring. No chaos, no tension. Just people enjoying the sun and water. The absence of shame creates a strange sense of equality. Expensive brands, fashion trends, social status, none of it matters when everyone looks simply human. The same mindset appears in sauna culture. In many Dutch spas and wellness centers, mixed saunas are the norm, and swimsuits are often not allowed. At first, this can feel intimidating for visitors. But after a few minutes, something shifts. Without clothes, the usual social barriers soften. People behave normally, respectfully, almost casually. Nudity stops being a statement and becomes background. It is not about showing off, it is about comfort and authenticity. This attitude connects to a broader cultural value: practicality over drama. The Dutch tend to remove unnecessary complications. If something is natural, they prefer not to create artificial taboos around it. That does not mean the society is reckless. Rules are clear. Behavior is regulated. Consent and boundaries are taken seriously. But the overall approach is calm rather than moralistic. Another topic often associated with Dutch freedom is drugs and sex work. International headlines focus on legalization, but the deeper story is about regulation. In the Netherlands, certain soft drugs are tolerated under strict conditions. The idea was never to encourage use, but to separate minor substances from dangerous criminal networks. By regulating coffee shops, the government aimed to reduce harm and maintain control instead of pushing everything underground. Whether one agrees with the policy or not, it reflects a consistent philosophy: manage reality instead of pretending it does not exist. The same logic applies to prostitution. In Amsterdam, especially in the famous De Wallen district, sex work operates legally under government supervision. Workers rent window spaces, pay taxes, and have access to health services. There are panic buttons, security systems, and inspections. Again, the approach is pragmatic. Rather than driving the industry into unsafe hidden spaces, the system attempts to provide protection and transparency. Critics argue about its effectiveness, but the principle remains clear: regulation over prohibition. Transparency is a powerful theme in Dutch culture. One visible symbol of this is the tradition of large, uncovered windows in homes. In many neighborhoods, especially in cities like Amsterdam or Utrecht, you can walk past houses at night and see directly into living rooms. Soft lighting, minimalist furniture, books, plants, art on the walls. Curtains are often left open intentionally. Historically, this practice is linked to Calvinist values emphasizing honesty and moral clarity, the idea that good citizens have nothing to hide. Over time, it became a design aesthetic as well. Open windows create a sense of connection between private and public space. This idea of visibility also appears in urban design. Streets are well lit. Public spaces are carefully planned. Even controversial districts are integrated into the city rather than isolated. The message seems consistent: hiding problems does not solve them. Address them openly, manage them intelligently. The Dutch relationship with freedom is therefore complex. It is not loud or rebellious. It is engineered. Policies are debated extensively. Experiments are tested carefully. Adjustments are made when needed. Freedom exists within a structured framework, like canals contained by strong walls. Without those boundaries, the water would flood everything. At the same time, individual responsibility is expected. Society offers space, but it assumes maturity. People are trusted to make decisions, and in return they are expected to respect others. This mutual trust creates stability. You feel it when walking alone at night, when using public transport, when interacting with strangers. There is an underlying confidence in the system. What surprises many visitors is how ordinary all of this feels once you are there. The beaches are peaceful. The saunas are relaxing. The red light district is organized. The coffee shops are quiet. The glowing windows are cozy. The shock value disappears quickly, replaced by curiosity and reflection. Perhaps the real lesson is that cultural norms are relative. What feels radical from outside may feel completely normal inside. The Netherlands invites you to question your assumptions, not by lecturing you, but by simply existing differently. And as you continue exploring, you begin to see that this small country's boldest feature is not its nightlife or its policies. It is its confidence, the quiet confidence to build a society that reflects its own logic, even when the rest of the world watches in surprise. If you look at the Netherlands on a map, it seems small and simple. But when you zoom in, it becomes a puzzle of borders, water systems, and architectural experiments that feel almost surreal. Take the town of Barlhertog and Barl-Nassau. Here, the border between Belgium and the Netherlands does not run in a straight line. It zigzags through streets, cuts across houses, splits cafés, and even divides living rooms. White crosses on the pavement mark where one country ends and the other begins. In some cases, the location of a front door determines the nationality of the entire building. It feels like a geopolitical riddle turned into everyday life. And yet, locals move through this complexity calmly. For them, it is normal. This strange borderland is not a conflict zone but a symbol of cooperation in modern Europe. Now shift your focus to nature. The Netherlands is one of the most densely populated countries in Europe, yet it invests heavily in protecting wildlife. One of the most impressive examples is the construction of ecoducts, massive green bridges built over highways. These structures allow deer, foxes, and other animals to safely cross from one forest area to another without encountering traffic. One of the largest is the Nederbrug-Zandrich Krelu, stretching hundreds of meters across railways and roads. From above, it looks like a normal piece of forest. Underneath, cars speed by. This is engineering serving ecology, not as an afterthought, but as a priority. Engineering defines the Netherlands more than almost anything else. A significant part of the country lies below sea level. Without constant water management, it would flood. The Dutch have built dikes, pumping stations, and storm surge barriers that protect millions of people. Projects like the Delta Works are considered among the greatest civil engineering achievements in the world. When you stand on these massive barriers facing the North Sea, you understand that this country exists because of human design and determination. Water is not only a threat, it is also a lifestyle. In Amsterdam, canals are not just tourist attractions, they are part of daily life. And on these canals float hundreds of houseboats. Some are simple and cozy, others are luxurious floating villas with rooftop terraces and modern interiors. Living on water here is not strange or marginal. It can be prestigious and expensive. The gentle movement of the canal, the reflection of lights at night, the quiet sound of boats passing by, it creates a unique rhythm of life. The Dutch relationship with water also shapes how they enjoy free time. The moment the sun appears after long grey weeks, parks fill instantly. In Amsterdam, Vondelpark becomes a giant open-air living room. People spread blankets, share drinks, play music, and simply sit facing the sunlight as if absorbing energy. There is almost a collective awareness that good weather must be appreciated immediately. No waiting. No postponing. When the sun shines, life moves outside. This sensitivity to light connects to the broader atmosphere of the country. Winters can be windy and dark, so warmth is created intentionally, through candles, cafes, and social gatherings. Summers, on the other hand, feel like a celebration of survival after months of clouds. Terraces overflow. Boats crowd the canals. Even small villages feel alive. Beyond the cities, tradition remains strong. In places like Marken, you can still see traditional wooden houses and occasionally residents wearing historical costumes. Every detail in these outfits once signaled social information, marital status, religion, region. Clothing functioned almost like a visual language. While today it is mostly preserved for cultural heritage, it reminds visitors that the Netherlands was once a collection of distinct fishing and farming communities before becoming a global trading power. Another magical place is Gezellig, often called the Dutch Venice. There are no traditional roads in the old part of the village, only canals, wooden bridges, and narrow walking paths. Boats replace cars. The soundscape changes completely. Instead of engines and horns, you hear water, birds, and soft conversations. It feels like stepping into a slower century. Yet even here, everything is carefully maintained and organized. What ties all these places together is intentional design. Nothing feels random. Borders are managed. Nature crossings are engineered. Water is controlled. Even historical villages are preserved with precision. The Dutch do not fight chaos with emotion, they fight it with planning. And that planning creates something extraordinary, a country where extreme complexity feels effortless. A town split by two nations functions peacefully. Wildlife crosses highways safely. Entire neighborhoods float. Parks transform into festivals with the first ray of sunlight. Tradition and innovation stand side by side without conflict. The Netherlands may be geographically small, but intellectually and architecturally, it feels vast. It is a place where geography becomes art, where engineering becomes identity, and where even the borders on the ground tell a story about cooperation instead of division. Spring in the Netherlands does not arrive quietly. It explodes in color. Fields transform into endless stripes of red, yellow, pink, and purple as millions of tulips bloom across the countryside. These flowers are not just decoration, they are part of national identity. At places like Keukenhof, one of the largest flower gardens in the world, carefully designed landscapes showcase the country's deep connection to horticulture. Walking through these paths feels almost surreal, like stepping into a painting where every brushstroke is alive. Tulips once triggered one of history's most famous economic bubbles in the 17th century. Tulip mania became a symbol of speculative madness. Yet today, flowers represent precision, export power, and global trade. The Netherlands is one of the largest flower exporters in the world. What looks romantic is also highly organized. Behind every colorful field stands a system of auctions, greenhouses, logistics networks, and international distribution. National pride becomes even more visible during King's Day. On this day, the entire country turns orange, the color of the royal house of Orange-Nassau. Streets fill with music, boats crowd the canals, and spontaneous markets appear everywhere. Children sell old toys on sidewalks. Strangers dance together. The atmosphere is festive but still surprisingly controlled. It feels like a nationwide birthday party where everyone is invited. Another tradition that shocks many visitors happens on January 1st, the Nieuwjaarsduik, or New Year's Dive. Thousands of people run into the freezing North Sea to start the year with adrenaline and laughter. The largest gathering takes place in Scheveningen near The Hague. Standing on the beach, watching crowds in orange hats sprint into icy water, you see a mix of madness and discipline. It is cold, chaotic for a few minutes, and then suddenly calm again. Towels, hot drinks, smiles. The ritual is less about endurance and more about symbolic renewal, a bold start to the year. These celebrations reveal something essential about Dutch identity: community matters. Public space is shared space. Festivals happen in streets, parks, canals, not hidden behind closed doors. Participation feels open. You do not need special invitations to join. You simply show up. But beyond festivals and flowers lies another defining feature of the Netherlands: quality of life. This country consistently ranks high in global happiness and work-life balance indexes. One major reason is its approach to work. Many Dutch employees work around 32 to 36 hours per week. Part-time contracts are common and socially accepted. Even in professional careers. Success is not measured only by overtime or constant hustle. Free time is valued. This balance connects to a uniquely Dutch concept known as Niksen, the art of doing nothing. Not scrolling endlessly on a phone. Not multitasking. Simply sitting, staring out a window, letting thoughts drift. In a fast-paced world obsessed with productivity, this idea feels radical. Yet in the Netherlands, it aligns perfectly with cultural values of moderation and mental well-being. Rest is not laziness, it is maintenance. The cost of living can be high, especially in cities like Amsterdam. Housing prices have risen significantly. Groceries and services may feel expensive compared to some European countries. But salaries, social security systems, and infrastructure help balance these costs. Healthcare is mandatory and structured. Public transport is efficient. Cycling infrastructure reduces transportation expenses. When you calculate the full picture: income, safety, healthcare, leisure time, the system appears carefully calibrated. Pragmatism defines daily life. Meetings start on time. Agendas are structured. Decisions are discussed openly. Hierarchies exist but are often less rigid than in many cultures. Employees may call their managers by first names. Feedback is direct. This can feel blunt, but it reduces hidden tension. Education also reflects this balanced mindset. Schools encourage independence and critical thinking. Children cycle to school alone at relatively young ages. Trust is built early. Responsibility grows naturally. And then there is food, simple, sometimes surprising, deeply traditional. One of the most iconic experiences is eating raw herring with onions and pickles, often by holding the fish by the tail and taking a bite. It is not elegant, but it is authentic. At fast food walls like Febo, you insert coins into small glass compartments and retrieve hot snacks from vending machines. It feels futuristic and old-fashioned at the same time. Stroopwafels, thin waffles filled with caramel syrup, are best tasted warm from a street market. And then there is hagelslag, chocolate sprinkles scattered generously on buttered bread for breakfast. What seems like dessert becomes morning routine. Again, simplicity mixed with unexpected twists. As evening falls, another subtle tradition appears. In many neighborhoods, homes glow from inside, curtains open, lamps carefully positioned. This quiet display of interior life is sometimes described as showroom culture. It creates a sense of shared coziness between private and public worlds. That feeling connects to one of the most important Dutch words: Gezellig. There is no perfect translation. It means cozy, warm, friendly, comfortable, but also socially connected. You feel it in small brown cafes with wooden interiors and candlelight. You feel it when friends gather around a table after cycling through rain. You feel it during festivals, in parks, in softly lit living rooms. Gezellig is not about luxury. It is about atmosphere. About togetherness without pressure. About simplicity done well. In the end, the Netherlands is more than canals, tulips, or progressive laws. It is a carefully engineered society that still leaves space for joy. A country that balances structure with celebration, pragmatism with warmth. It has built land from the sea, systems from chaos, and culture from compromise. Small on the map, yet immense in influence. Strict with rules, yet generous with freedom. Quiet in confidence, yet bold in ideas. The Netherlands is not perfect. No country is. But it stands as a fascinating example of how thoughtful design, in cities, policies, and daily habits, can shape not only infrastructure, but happiness itself.